getting a lot more difficult, especially in individual names. I appreciate you guys being there for me, a shoulder to cry on. You heard me complain all too much about how confusing, how frustrating it was in stock selecting and individual names, okay? And we were right on the doorstep of earnings season where, you know, for me, without the flow, without sweeper activity, there's nothing else that's going to go into stock picking for me. So if I can't trust the flow, right, if I can't trust sweeper activity, I really have nothing to base me picking stocks on, all right? And that's where the confusion came from on my end. So basically, it was just the simple premise I was trying to get across to you guys that even though you're going to feel bullish, you're going to see things like AMD catch some news and get hot. The worst thing you can do is think that you can catch that type of reaction, right? That type of price action with everything else you may put your hands on, right? We talk about the sweet spot a lot, right? Where a market comes out of consolidation or correction and initial sweeper activity comes into the initial start of that trend, right? Right out of bearish extreme sentiment, in where you can throw a dart at any sweeper and chances are you're going to make money on the call side. Okay, that's the sweet spot. That's the absolute best spot, and where the likelihood is your biggest and easiest winners are going to come from. Okay, we are actually as far away from that, and because of earnings has a lot to do with it, but we were as far away from that as you could possibly be and still have a bullish backdrop overall. All right, and that's what adds to the frustration, right? If you can, if there were signals out there stressing to us to lean bearish or be cautious, it's easier, right? Sit on your hands, do nothing, play the downside. If you see some bearish signals, right, you're looking to play the downside. But when there's a bullish backdrop and things are getting tricky on the upside, that's a very frustrating part of this game. Okay, so there are only a couple things that are going to clear it up. We got to get through this week of earnings, right? This was the big week, probably into next week, but things should start to loosen up. The list of names that are capable of catching post-earnings flow, which is a lot different, right? That means a lot, the flow that comes post-earnings. The list of names is going to grow larger each and every day as we get into next week. More names, bigger names report. So we're going to get untangled from that web, per se, okay? But we are going to get, in my opinion, an answer to, I think, is a crucial question right now as far as the overall market is concerned. Okay, because I don't really see any other scenario playing out. In other words, what I'm getting at is you've had a lot of things, okay, quite a few things melt up already, right? The NASDAQ has been in the melt up, right? Especially software names, shop, the whole shebang, okay? They've been melt up city. Gold, right, just has gone bonkers here. Melt up type action. Silver, right? Now you got Bitcoin, okay? Some other commodity things, lumber. So you got a lot of things entering melt up mode, okay? And I think we're going to get the answer to our question if that chunk of the market or whatever's left in the market to melt up is going to melt up here. I think we're going to get that answer coming out of the next 2 weeks of earnings. We're going to see whether these tech names need to digest and there's going to be money rotating out of them, right? So they need to breathe and consolidate further. And maybe they go into cyclicals, or maybe they go into some of the other parts of the market that and have a huge impact on the S&P 500, you know. And the reason why we're talking melt-up mode, guys, is not, the reason we're talking melt-up mode is because of this, right? We're talking melt-up mode because we know from prior experiences, right, when you come out of a correction crash and you go into a rally or an uptrend where a lot of players or the majority of players don't believe in that rally, you get that capitulation. Just like you get the capitulation on the downside, right? That creates bottoms. Usually this phase is going to end with capitulation on the upside. All right. So all this, right? This money here, see the money market? That's that dark blue line. All this starts to look for a home in risk assets. Okay. And you see it already. The money is actually going into fear trades. We spoke about that, right? They've been buying big tech. Why? Because they're unfazed by this COVID and this virus, right? They're buying gold, silver, Bitcoin, right? No, that's a fear trade. That's not a bullish trade. Right, exactly, bonds. So we're seeing the melt up on a complete other side here. We're seeing a melt up, a massive amount of liquidity looking for homes, and they're finding anything they can look at as an area of safety, in a sense. Okay, so the moral of the story here, and we'll look through some of the stuff, you know, the Goldman Sachs indicator thing, and we'll talk about that a little. But the reason why we feel eventually there's going to be a melt up, eventually you're going to see that the majority of players who have been on the sidelines, okay, feel like now they have to be in equities. Okay, and it doesn't necessarily mean that the uptrend, the rally has to end right there and then, but a lot of times it doesn't end until that happens. Okay, now what can happen, and what a lot of us would rather have happen, is that you get a normal run-of-the-mill pullback or correction, okay, something similar to what we had not too long ago here, okay? It could be even worse, meaning deeper than this. This was nothing. And then a rally follows, right? And then a melt-up potentially follows after that. But I think my point is here that I think we're going to get the answer to all this as the next couple of weeks unwind, right? We're going to get the answers to it. So in other words, if the NASDAQ and these hot names, these anti-COVID names are done, right? They've exhausted themselves and they need to relax. And there's a good possibility it's more about the amount of time they relax than how much they come in. They could chop around like they're doing right now. They're actually in consolidation right now, a lot of them. Okay? As we get through the next 2 weeks of earnings, does money come pouring into these things over a couple week breather, and there's another run to another leg higher, right? That would definitely qualify as a melt up. Or does money come out of that, right? They use these names as a source of funds and start to find other things that haven't really exploded yet. They've participated, but they haven't exploded yet. Like if you look around this market, you know, you have the stuff that's overcooked, right? All the stuff everybody wants to own, the new economy, antivirus names. But you also have, you know, they're not all tech is what I'm getting at. You have a whole other chunk of the market. You know, we were talking about, you got the, like, look at these names here, right? The camping worlds, right? The pool, like these aren't tech. And hardly anybody's talking about these things, you know? So do we see, you know, a rotation out of tech into some aspect, you know, again, I am not trying to predict the future, but into something else is what I'm getting at, whatever it may be. You know, it's tough to see them going into the economically sensitive names, right? It's tough to see, especially with this COVID not going away. But, you know, you look around, these names look good. Like Caterpillar looks really good, right? We've been talking about that. The transportation names that we were been looking at, they look really good. Okay, so if we see flow start to come in to these things post earnings, that's going to be our heads up that that's where the money may be going. And, you know, that's where the money, that's where we need to make the money over that, while the tech names and software names may need to rest. All right. So again, the moral of the story is, yeah, I saw Kathy buy cat. I kind of got caught off guard there, right? That's not usually something she does. But anyway, oh, it was the type of fund she bought it in? Is that why? So, okay, industrial innovation. Thanks, Joe. So that's what I'm trying to get at. We're going to get answers. We're going to get answers, right? No matter what it may be. Overall correction in the market, right? We're not, what the likelihood is we're not going to see much of any buying post earnings. Okay. And then we may need to pull or consolidate further and wait for sweepers to step in again at a certain point. Okay. But I don't think there's too much time. I think we're at a crucial pivot point here. And I could be wrong, but I think this market's going to have to make a decision here as we get through the next couple of weeks of earnings, you know, whether wash some people out, shake them out, reel in some shorts to set up that next leg higher, or they're just going to gun this thing right off of earnings, you know, because that's what it's going to come down to. Let's be honest. It's going to come down to earnings, no? It's going to come down to earnings. If they sell the news in a in an Apple, Amazon shop, if the majority of names have that sell the news type price action because they've run too much, then, you know, the likelihood is those names are going to be in, at the least, some consolidation. You understand? So we're going to see the true colors of this market over the next couple of weeks. All right. And that may be, you know, we're coming up here. It depends, but that could be the last hoorah before everybody finally has no choice but to get into this market. And then that never ends well, right? So the best case scenario would be that rather than a melt up, we get some consolidation in the overall market and a rotation into all the names I just mentioned, the Caterpillars and all that stuff. All right. So again, there's no reason to try to predict. Our job is to sit back, right, with an open mind, keep our eyes open, and see where the money's going, see how sentiment lines up in the interim around it, and the clues should be there. The clues should all be there. Okay. So this is what we've been looking at this every Tuesday. All right, and this is why the melt up is still in play, but at the same time, if we don't melt up, we need some sort of little breather here. I know it sounds confusing, and I know it could get irritating when there's like you're talking two sides of the mouth, but here's why, right? We talk about this every Tuesday. You still have a bullish backdrop because a lot of the positioning stuff is nowhere near all-in territory. Okay? Right? So we talk about that all the time. For, again, the odds, the probability coming out of these phases, when this comes to an end officially, okay, those dark blue diamonds on your screen here are going to be on this side of the chart. Okay? It's that simple. All right? So that hasn't happened yet, right? Yeah, that hasn't happened yet. So The issue we have and why we just can't be gun-ho bullish, right, and go out and be aggressive here into earnings and who gives a rat's ass, just buy everything, is because we have, let me get this cleared up. We have this. All right. And that's all the tactical, short-term, the traders out there. Okay. The option players that are gambling in weeklies. Right. And they've been hanging out, they're hanging out here. Meaning they're leaning bullish. Right. If the market wants to catch them, the market could go down for a week and bury them all. That's simple. 1 week, bury them all. Okay? Here, these guys aren't fooling around on weeklies, right? These are positions, more conviction, not as nimble. All right, so this is the problem here, right? This is the problem here. So either this just swings over to here and these guys end up right and making money, which can happen, okay? And that would be melt up. Or the market says, you know what? I'm not in the mood to give any gifts out to anybody. I'm going to bury these people. I'm going to shake them out over the course of a week or two, hit them over the head, okay? Keep these guys still in check, right? Bring in some bears and then run them over, right? And that'll be the gasoline to run everybody over and leave everybody behind. So that's what we're going to see, all right? So that's what we keep talking about every Tuesday. The backdrop is still favorable, okay? But short term we got, and we've had, okay? Short term we've had this problem, all right? And in my opinion, maybe you guys think I'm nuts, but that's why this market has looked like this, okay? And not that much participation. And one name's going up, AMD's going up, this semiconductor's going down, right? This software name is up today, this software name's down. No, there's no rhyme or reason. It's a sloppy shit show of a mess out there, okay? And there's no clean move higher, right? After we rallied from the lower end of the range here, it's been choppy, messy. Okay, you probably could give me a name that's done well, but again, you're looking at one name that's done well. I can give you a list of names from here to Jerusalem that have been straight up chopped, that you would have got chopped up in, right? So it's not easy to make money in that environment. Okay, so the market's still bullish, right? But it's not easy to make money on the long side, right? So that's why this market's got, something's going to give here, and you have earnings as a potential catalyst for it, right? Rotation or melt up or whatever may come out of it. All right. This is another chart here that tells the story. Okay, so this is momentum crowding, right? Momentum players, all right? They like the Momo stocks, they like the things that move, and they're stepping on the gas long, right? So if they want to catch this crowd, again, it doesn't take much, they can do it here. Okay, they can do it here. Couple days they can do it. All right, so we'll see how that plays out. But those are short-term Momo players, as we like to call them. All right. We look at this, right? I just showed you guys that. Here's the money market. Equity, still nobody wants. You know, bonds, obviously, are attracting money. But you have a money market that some money came out of and then hit the brakes. And this is, you know what makes this rally strange, okay? And you can make an argument for where sentiment's at right now that this thing's nowhere near over. You could really make that argument because the money that's considered bullish out there, right? The long money out there is in a fear trade. You understand? Gold is gold is melting up. Does gold melt up when people are bullish? No, right? Not usually. The drug stocks have been hot and carrying the market, right? The anti-COVID names, which would probably go down if there was a vaccine or good economic news or anything like that. So somebody can make the argument, you could easily make the argument that this market is where it's at and it's based on all fear money out there. And if that fear money came out of that fear trade and went into risk on, where would it go and what would the market look like at that point? So I'm just making the point again. I don't think it's that extreme, but you couldn't legitimately make the point. All right. What else we got? That's it. Oh, we got I just saw this now from McElliott. Some of those of you who are members saw this, I think, late last week. So this is the CTA model. Now every firm has a different measure of exposure regarding CTAs. But McElliott was talking about how they've been increasing, especially the global equities, they've been increasing their exposure. Remember, they were part of that non-believer crowd, and they've been opening up on the long side, getting involved. All right, so CTAs, they're systematic funds. CTA, what does that stand for? We were going over this the last time. Not certified technical analyst either, but commodity trading advisor. But it has nothing to do with what they do, right? Yeah, they trade futures, and they're systematic. They look at levels. That's what determines. There's not a lot of thought and emotion that goes into it. All right. So, that's McElliott looks at, like, if a certain level breaks to the upside and they are underexposed to equities, they have to add exposure. They got to take their, percentage of exposure to equities up, and they just automatically will do it. You know what I mean? They don't think about everything else going around them. They're trendy, systematic type funds. It's not bearish while they're doing it. It's bearish. Again, the problem is when everybody gets all in. That's what creates the bearish setup at the end. All right. Similar to, like, people compare it to like 99, what happened? 99 into 2000, right? For that year before the bubble bursted in March of 2000, that's what went on. Okay. You had the correction in October 1998, right? Off of Japan. That's what was the catalyst of it. And then from that point all the way to 2000, there was the same thing. Non-believers in the rally throughout, and then eventually everybody got long, all in exposure, right when the news was at its best, and then the market blew up and never looked back. Another example, not as extreme, is the Trump tax cuts, if you guys remember. Okay? Remember how, there was negative news, the market rallied, and then soon as Trump put those tax cuts, soon as he signed them into law, that's when the market topped out. Or the trade war, right? The trade war, every dip off that trade war was an unbelievable buying opportunity, all the way up until the trade war ended, and then that trade was south. So that's what it is. That's the risk. When everybody is all in, there's nobody left to buy dips anymore. Right. Everybody's all in the pool, swimming in the pool, right? Nobody can buy that dip anymore. You see, every dip gets bought, right? Where do you think that's imaginary money that just comes out of thin air? That's all the money on the sidelines that hasn't got in that needs to get in. When they're all in, who's going to buy the dip? And then you get a real catalyst for some selling. And then you have a lot of supply, a lot of longs that are looking to take down their exposure. And that's what adds to the velocity on the sell side. You know, so that's the logic behind it. You know, that's why positioning and sentiment is so important to pay attention to in this market, because it's what moves markets. All right, but like I said, the frustrating part about now for me and for a lot of us has been that we still have a bullish backdrop, okay? But without this, you know, coming back in, we don't have that entry, right? We don't have that entry, because then there's that risk of this shakeout and you get caught in that, okay? You could try to play individual names to help avoid that or soften the blow, and now we have earnings that get in the way of that. So, right, there's a lot of risk out there, a lot more risk than what we were used to this whole entire rally, if that makes any sense. As scary as times have been, there's a lot more risk now on of a pull than we've had in a long time. Than we've had in a long time. The market is pricing in these COVID stocks like COVID never happened. Not really, because look at the stocks that they're buying. COVID happened. COVID definitely happened. Otherwise, a name like Yeti wouldn't be doing this. A name like Camping World wouldn't be doing this. A name like Masco in a recession wouldn't be doing this. A name like Shaw, because people are painting their homes because they're stuck in their house, wouldn't be doing this. You understand? So it's a new economy out there. That's what it is. It's a new economy. Home Depot. All the names there are names thriving because of what has gone on here, right? Software, you guys know that whole story, right? We don't have to talk about that again, right? There's sectors that are going gangbuster right now because of what's been going on. Now, you can make the case that they've overdone it in these names, right? They've overdone it in these names, okay? But on the flip side of that, if you're going to make the case they've overdone it in these names, then you're going to make the case that they've overdone it on the other side of that trade. All the stuff that they've been selling, all the stuff that they want no piece of, all the names and sectors that they've been ignoring, right? There's a whole other side of this economy. So you understand? If you're going to make the case they overdid it here, I can understand it. I agree with you. Like, this is a crazy move. But if they come out of this, the chances are they're going to move money somewhere else, right? If they come out of the COVID trades because there's a therapeutic or there's a vaccine on the horizon, where do you think that money is going to go? Exactly. They're going to go to the casinos. They're going to go to the airlines potentially. They're going to go to the transportation names. They're going to go to all that stuff. Hotels. All blue chip names that have been buried. So, again, we're going to get an idea, in my opinion, Okay. I'm being honest. That's my opinion, that we're going to get a better idea of how things may shake out over the next week or two. And I think these names are going to tell us the story, you know? It's hard. It's really hard for me to see like a Zoom just going bananas from here. It's really hard for me to see that. Like I really truly believe like this, they have to either come in or time. They got to digest more. You know, maybe they find other names potentially in these groups that haven't run as much. That's a possibility, you know. But the leaders, like the names they've just been piling into, you know, it's again, unless it's a melt up scenario and that's going to end really badly. I don't see it. I don't see it, but it's definitely possible. Yeah, there's so many, you know, there's so many, like even what the hell is that on my screen? I did that? I must have got frustrated there drawing lines. Oh, you know, like Shop is a stud. You know what I mean? Shop is a stud. And look, you know, there's a little consolidation going on here. You can see that. You know, there's healthy consolidation going on right now in front of our eyes. Now, the other scenario too is that I think we'll have a ton of opportunities anyway, no matter what plays out. Okay, because I think like if these things are under pressure, like if these things are in consolidation, I guess is the proper term. I still think we have that trade where when they sell it, you look for that entry for that snapback. Remember we were talking about that a couple of weeks ago? So you get kind of this consolidation with a little maybe downward tilt to it. You know, so there's a lot of stuff still available out there. There's a lot of juice out there. There's still animal spirits out there. You know, that's a good thing. We gotta get through earnings here so it helps us with the stock picking. That's been the problem. I like a lot of names. They all have earnings. Every single one of them has earnings, you know? So that's kind of the issue. All right. Anybody have any questions on what we're talking about here? I mean, understandable. Again, hopefully by next Tuesday or the following Tuesday, we'll have more to discuss, you know, regarding what type of flow we're seeing and where we're seeing it. Just right now, you know, we're seeing like there's action out there. I mean, this Etsy catches big bet after big bet. You know, if it didn't have earnings, you can make the case. All right, fine, Etsy's moved big, but you do have a little breather here. And this large aggressive sweep that just came in is telling us that this consolidation is about to come to an end, right? Like that's what we would base it off of. But when Etsy has earnings and that bet catches earnings, right, we don't have the confidence that that order is a directional bet and it's more of just earnings position. That's the difference. You know, that's the difference. Yes, Fang, I think like Fang is just CNBC and bears spreading rumors that it's all about Fang and nothing else. You know, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Google, they could do nothing and you could get a rotation into the cyclicals that can carry the Dow, the S&P 500. And then what? The NASDAQ lags a bit? You know, there's still tech semis that can carry the market. So I don't see the craziness amongst Fang. They could go dead and the market could still be okay and there could still be a ton of opportunities out there. You know, I don't think the sizzle of this market's FANG, right? If you told me the software names, right, or the new economy names, if they got crushed, what would the market look like? That's a different story. Like if they get crushed, you really need to see some aggressive buying on the other side to make up for it. Yeah, FANG is done. You know, it's done. It's had a hell of a move off the lows. You know, people are hiding in FANG because they're huge. They got tons of money, and they're anti-COVID, right? I mean, Amazon probably does better with COVID around. So it's a fear trade. It's like them going into the utilities. They usually go into the utilities. They've gone into FANG and tech. Home builders, how good do they look? They look great. No? Home builders look great. DHI, I think, had earnings, right? That was the last of it. But they've looked great. All of them. They all, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of stocks that look really good out there, right? We didn't even talk about like the gold miners, which I don't even play, and they've been insane. Insane. You know, insane. So now, you know, now if money starts to find some new spots, we should have, you know, we should have some decent action. We should have some decent action. Yeah, copper, nickel, lumber. Here's another example, okay? LL, by the way, this thing had a killer move, but just to give you an example, LL caught a sweep that if it wasn't earnings related, would have been up $2 right off the sweep in a straight line. Bink, bink, bink. The stock hardly even moved. No, you know, granted, this thing's run a ton, but it caught as big of a bet or big as a sweep in order that I've seen in the name ever. And I've been watching sweepers a long time. Okay, but it most likely is just earnings position. You know, it's most likely just earnings position. But look at this name. Huh? Look at this name. There are moves. There are moves out there. But like I said, I don't want to sound like a broken record. Earnings getting in the way of a lot of them. You know, maybe it doesn't bother you. Maybe, you know, earnings are a part of your game, right? Maybe you're sizing down and you're putting in what you want to lose into an option, or maybe you're going out buying with enough time and earnings, you know, is not in the way. And you can just, you can play through this. But me personally, I don't trust the flow as much. So that's my issue. I don't even mind holding through earnings when I have time. I do that plenty of times, you know? LL, he's still in it? Oh, he rebought it, you mean? LL, I remember. Yeah, material stocks very quietly, right? Very quietly, material stocks have been hot. So things have been strong. Things have been strong. But we wouldn't mind for a little pullback or a little breather here. It won't take much, just a little bit. Either way, it doesn't matter. I really don't care at this point. I really don't care. What names are you guys eyeing here? Anything juicy? So AMD, you know, and let's be honest, AMD got lucky. No, even with all the flow that AMD caught, it got lucky. Because if it wasn't for the Intel news, you would have had to hold through earnings to get paid. Right? No, I'm not in it. You can tell I'm not in it, right? No, but honestly, like AMD and no, I know, Roncho, I know. I'm saying like AMD, like a lot of people who follow options flow would be like, oh, you saw all that AMD buying, you see, oh, they killed it. I'm saying that, we can't make excuses for some earnings names and not others. AMD was, most likely you would have had to hold through earnings, and that's okay. That was the play there. AMD never looked bad. AMD never looked bad. There's a lot of names. There's a lot of names set up like this, guys. If we had the patience. But at this point, we might as well just wait a week. Yeah, Micron is a name like that. If you're interested in the semi names, I feel like everything I own is in that category right now. I own that plan, doing nothing sideways. Was tradable, but net sideways if you're holding it. BHC. There's a lot of names like that. So, these are names that can participate in a rally if there's some rotation. LUV. I told you that if the bet was further out, I would have rolled the dice, Cash. But I just day traded it. I mean, it was a good looking sweep. That's about it. I don't think they're getting bought out or anything. But considering the spot and all, I wouldn't have gone nuts, but I would have took a shot. I don't have much other choices out there anyway. Everything else is reporting. So, but the list is going to grow that much larger in a week. WKHS, this is another one that caught action yesterday. But, you got earnings in August. This looks interesting. Might need to breathe a little bit more, though. This is a Kathy stock. A disruptor. This is a Kathy stock. The semis, I mean, how long have we been talking about the semis? What pisses me off is that I don't have any semi right now. Not one. I've played a few of them, in and out of them. I've day traded every single one of them. But hopefully I can get into a couple of these things. Like, here's an example, NXPI. If this thing catches action back into this little range here, I'll be willing to, buy that. I want to get some of these earnings out of the way. LRCX, let them sell that off earnings. I'm ready. How many times have I missed the boat in this thing? It's unbelievable. But you see up here now, right? This has been moving, and it'll probably be up maybe because of AMD. Yeah, this is a little tricky here to start a position. As you can see by the red. But this stock doesn't give two shits about the red. Look. Here, that melt up, that's what I'm saying. When things go into melt up mode, these animals, they don't care. But this is what you want. You want a little breathers. Look, breathers. See that? That's what you want. That's what we want. Breathers. Because I'll be honest with you. I mean, Ronchero makes the point about AMD. When they melt up like this, I don't own them for swings anyway. I end up day trading them all because I don't like to chase these things and hold them. What about, I don't know how many of you day trade, but I never day trade. The money's in swing position trading, obviously, especially when you're doing things right. But considering the headline risk out there and how difficult it would be in stock selection and swing trades, day trading has been solid. No? there's been decent juice out there intraday. Right? So that's why, like every name that I've heard people complain about could have been day traded and day traded profitably multiple times, right? Here, perfect example, AMD, okay? You could have done both if you like the stock. You could have had a core position off the big August bet. Remember, there was one real sweep at the time. Everything was weeklies. You could have had what? Right, exactly. Done both. You know? So if you're frustrated by the chop and you don't want to hold through earnings or with time, if you can day trade, there's animal spirits out there. There's animal spirits out there. You know, it takes discipline because you gotta at the right spots. You don't want to chase them when they're going cuckoo in the range. Plan, like I wish I traded it and held, well, I did day trade it a couple of times, so I can't complain. But you know what I mean? Like plan, you could have done the same thing a couple of times. Yeah, hopefully we see some more catch fire out of this. Hopefully we see some more names. The semis look great. They all look good. You know, they'll look even better if they pull back. My worry is that they don't pull back. That's my worry. My worry is not if they pull back, you know? PayPal, when do they report? Tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow, right? This thing's had a big move, though. I don't know, man. The Micron, I actually sold the Octobers, but if they hit it hard again, I would buy it back. I would buy it back. I like Micron. The only thing with Micron is it's choppy, and like that's what I said on this day here, right? That's what I was weighing that day. It happened to be a good move for now. Mark my words, 9 out of 10 times when I sell it and I look good the next couple of days, I look bad in a couple of weeks. Okay, that's textbook. All right, but what I was saying to myself on that pop, I had a quick profit. I know Micron's a choppy son of a bastard, and I got earnings that I'm going to have to sit through. You know what I mean? I got to sit through semiconductor earnings. I got to sit through WDC earnings that will definitely have an influence. You did the same thing with Micron, so we'll probably regret it if we don't get back in it. But in this climate, it doesn't bother me too much right now. Once we get past the next 2 weeks, then I'll be a little more patient on things. I've been quick with a lot of things. I've been day trading primarily, guys. I've been day trading primarily. The only new names that I took for a swing, basically for multiple days at the least, Micron, which I sold when it popped, what was it, a day or two later, and ZI, which I still have. This one I'm holding. I have the Septembers. I traded stock, but I have the calls that I'm holding on to. Maybe you got some names like this that went public, all right, ignored. I don't know. Maybe this is more economically sensitive than some of the other software names. Yeah, the match. They're known for put selling. Let me ask you guys a question with the match. What is this? Why does it look like an IPO? Match has been catching put selling for years. What is this about? Where's the rest of the chart? This is the same match? I think didn't match get bought out? I don't remember now what the hell went on. Oh, they broke up the company. Because I remember they were AI, this one, IACI owned the trunk. Where'd they go? Oh, IAC. Oh, look, this one too, right? So they did something, you're right, Adam. This one too. They broke up the company that did something. Yeah, because Match is known for put selling. Match is known for put selling. You know, I would have been a little more rah-rah off that put selling activity if this wasn't around the earnings. So we'll see. You got Chinese names that can catch fire. You have a lot of potential stuff out there that can catch fire. You have 50 positions right now? Jesus Christ. Well, you better pay close attention to the pool indicator, I'll tell you that much. You don't want 50 positions when everybody's in the pool. And by the way, for those of you, pool, it's just as a joke, the pool indicator, meaning when everybody is long and bullish, everybody's in the pool, that sort of thing. What was I going to say? Oh, for those of you who are members, the Sharpie riffraff indicator, riffraff covered a little bit of their shorts. Sharpies actually added a little bit of their longs, but no bullish signal. That's another potential something bullish that can come out of a little pullback. If we get a pullback, a little punch in the jaw, and you get that Sharpie riffraff indicator flash another bullish signal coming out of earnings season, we'll be doing cartwheels. Speaking of pool, look at this. I bet you guys didn't even know this name exists. Did you? Pool. Swimming pools. What do you do with Corona? You lock yourself in your house. Where are you going to go? In your swimming pool, right? You see what I mean? It's no joke. Look at this move. Crazy stuff that, yeah, just a double. Stuff like, what was the other one? Tractor Supply? Is that the name I'm thinking of? Yeah, look at this. Like, you know, this is a name, like if you're in the business, you're conditioned. Tractor Supply, economically sensitive. You go into a recession, the last thing you buy is Tractor Supply. But this is not your normal recession, right? This is locked in your house. So you buy a tractor, and I guess you ride your tractor around? Is that what you guys do? My chicken. Sean, a lot of action. I'm just not a big fan of the stock. It's an ADR, so really, really slow. But, you know, maybe you catch news. Certainly possible. You know, but I didn't play it because it's just the ADRs frustrate me to death. They're really slow. Like one thing I wanted to try to stick to, Sean, for whatever's left of this rally, things that can move. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want to try to hang on to and buy if I can. You know, I've had my fill already. I'm still in stuff. You know, the plan and the and BHC. By the way, we found out who that BHC Jan sweeper was, right? Glenview. But, you know, I got the slower stuff, sit on it too, it hatches type thing. You know, I want stuff that can, like, even though the ZI hasn't moved yet, you could tell, you know, when it gets hot, it's going to move, right? Right, like LRCX, you know, if you're right, you're going to get paid, right? So I don't mind the more risk and the more volatility at this point. I want to try to catch, some quicker, bigger movers. That's all. Yeah, I have no problem going out a few months and holding. You know what I mean? My goal for whatever's left of this rally is to, like, I rather, even if I size down by an LRCX that is more volatile, and hold that for a couple of months. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, the big movers, when you catch them right, you don't hold them that long. Two, that's a bad thing that we don't hold them that long, because they keep going. But, this thing, when this gets hot, it's puts nine spots up. Like it's nothing. Like somebody was telling me, oh, you think this is enough of a pullback in LRCX? Because the stock was down like maybe $4 or $5. That's peanuts to this thing. That's peanuts, Look, it looks like it didn't even budge off the highs yet. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. Like I said, I'm gonna let the flow be my guide, and that's the way I've been doing it for a lot of my career. And so far, so good. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. So that's why I don't want to get too hung up on any particular name or sector. Right? I want to let the flow come to me, so I have an open mind to where the hot money may be going. If I'm just looking at tech, I could be missing a commodity boom that's ready to go gangbuster. You know what I mean? So I want to go into post earnings with a clean slate and just let the flow come to me. Oh, they're bombing XYZ? All right. And that's the way we should approach it all the time. And, I've been doing this a long time and I still have trouble. Like, how much of this are they going to buy and I don't own it, right? Like, that's what bothers me. When I'm typing out fetch orders literally every day and, like, I don't own a piece. I don't own nothing. Fetch. Not only that, this thing had a bullish risk reversal out, I think it was a month ago or so, out for January. Like, look at this. What do they do? Retail? Still don't know what they do. I still have no idea. Yeah, basically option alert powers our data, and I'm staring at the flow all day long and trying to decipher what's what. Yeah, they've been hitting this name for a while now, this Farfetch. But it's been literally every day this thing catches action. Even TSM, another one, semi-name. Nonstop action. Nonstop. These things were looking good. They still look good. Penn and DraftKings, but DraftKings now has that baseball issue. Still looks good, though. But you got earnings in August, so you got to dodge that. Shop filed for $7.5 billion mixed shelf stock. That might be nonsense. Bonds, $7.5 billion. Anybody have anything to add before we wrap it up here? Any names or anything about strategy, anything like that? BLDP, a lot of action. You have earnings. Otherwise, really interesting name. Plus, you got a pullback here though, so that's good. Yeah, this thing's had a lot of buying, but now you got a pullback. I would wait, till earnings. That's early August. Strategy to enter a day trade. It's not too much to my strategy, Nilesh. When they come in sweeping, I try to get in the middle of it for at least a scalp. Like today, what I play? I played a couple names this morning. LUV, which had really nice action. Hold on. My mind draws blanks. CGC, good call. Thank you. I rely on you guys. Those were the two I played this morning. GPC? No. CGC. Look where this thing closed, too. Jesus Christ. Wow. You know where I sold it? Here, I think. Yep. I think it was there. Right into, I think it was the initial rush. First rip, yep. So, see, I wouldn't have been able to, even if I raised the stop, they probably would have clipped me here. I would have had to stay loose, and I wouldn't have stayed loose on this thing. I wouldn't have stayed loose to ride that out. See, this is where I don't feel comfortable. But a lot of people I know who trade similar to the way I do, they'll replay the name if she catches flow. But you know what I mean? Or fades. INCG, I scalped, but I shouldn't even count that. That was another big mover today. You know what I mean? Like, look at these moves, right, Sean? Like, if you wanted to be conservative as you possibly can with as little risk as you can possibly have right now, you can just get in the middle of these things and scalp them. I'm not talking about 10-cent scalps. I mean, we're talking about even money day trades. You buy in INSG, 40 cents up, 40 cents down, you're out. Right? And a lot of these things, just when they come after multiple sweeps, boom, 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 a lot of them have juice. Some of them run out of juice at some point, but they have instant juice. This was one, I think they made money with it, though. I didn't trade it, but this was one that ran out of juice a little bit. I think. Maybe I could be wrong, though, because I didn't play this thing. Where was it? What am I doing here? Hold on. Let me start over here. Yeah, so it's right here. This is a 5-minute. So right here. Okay? You see, clear as day, right? If I had a volume, I don't even have volume on here, you telling me? I took volume off of here somehow. So look here. This is where the sweeper activity came in. And where if I had volume on the chart, you would see the volume grow. Okay? This is where sweepers came in. So down here, right where it just started to wake up, that's where more than likely I posted those small initial sweeps. So you see a couple sweeps come in. You see NTNX, it's flat on the day or down on the day. You like the spot or you like the name. You get long in this vicinity. You don't get long up here after the sweeps and the move. You get in the middle of the action as it's coming in, right? And then here's your scalp. And if you want to, trail a stop or stay loose, right? Leave it at break even, you stop and see if you can catch a bigger move. That's your call. But if you wanted to, like I said, be conservative with as little risk as possible, this has been there all day, every day. All day, every day. All day, every day. All right? Some, the same name. You know, they do it like 3 days in a row, right? Remember, they did it with the net. They did it with the sono. How many times did that get tattooed? And, well, you probably should have just hold it for a swing. But you know what I mean. You know, granted, you're not going to get rich. You know what I mean? You're not going to get rich over the short term doing it. But while you're trying to remain disciplined and patient and waiting for a cleaner setup with less risk for swinging and positions, there's nothing wrong with trying to grind it out and make some money that way. It keeps you involved. It keeps you entertained. And if you could come out of it green, who's better than you? Faye, well, let's go. Let me see this. Faye. Earnings, right? Get out of town. No. Faye is up over 15. I don't believe it. Earnings, right? Wow. My favorite name. You know, this is what it frustrates the daylights out of me, this stock, day trading it, because it's not even like you lose money. It doesn't move. Wherever the action comes in, you get an initial little pop and it just stays there. Yeah, this stock, I think the last time I day traded it, some of you remember, I got so lucky, so lucky. They tattooed it, and then there was a chatter or a rumor. I think it halted, opened up with nice green, and I sold right into it. I couldn't wait to get out of it. Other than that, every single trade has been a scratch. AMD's a stud. AMD's a stud. AMD's a stud. Where is that? 74, right? They went up, I think they bought the 80s, right? Oh, no, they bought the hundreds, didn't they? But were those leaps? I think those were leaps. Oh, October hundreds. Wow. AMD finally busted it. Honestly, we say finally. We have no patience. You know, this is an unbelievable setup right here. Unbelievable. For a position, like if you want to swing trade, right, go out a few months, this is what you want. All right, especially if you want to buy dips, this is what you want. You can't draw it up any better than this. What'd it take? It wasn't even catching action here. I mean, swingable action. It took a couple months. What was it? The first real sweep. Remember we made a big deal out of it because it was catching all weeklies? Wasn't it August, that sweep? Do you guys remember? I think it was August. Remember it was like a $500,000? August 52 and a halves. Good call. August 52 and a halves. Yep. Well, yeah, hopefully there'll be more of it. But again, there's not too many stocks. You know, this is with earnings now, but there's not too many stocks that are doing this without, you know, the help of earnings yet. Right? Anybody else have any breaks like this that they're watching or they own? TSM is one, but basically off the same thesis. This one's a stud too. Where's this trading now? 70s. Wait, 70. Oh, it was down today. I keep forgetting. Yeah, Micron without a doubt. And you got the flow to base it off of. You know what I mean? But you have to have the patience. You can't complain, just like AMD. You can't complain, just like Ronchero said, okay? You want to sit in it and you get antsy, then trade a little around a little core position, right? You buy it at the lower end of the range when it catches flow and it pops, you sell it while you have a core position in October's. Okay, you could do that. But you can't have just a swing position for October and you have to sit through this and you're going to complain about it or get antsy and stop yourself out for no reason. You know what I mean? Micron could be a chop fest before it breaks. All right, like this here. It's notoriously known for that. And then it comes all at once when they want it. Right? It comes all at once. The rally comes all at once. So I'm going to try to get back in this. If I don't buy, I might buy another semi. Another one I wanted to buy is this ADI. They bought December's. They report August 19th. August 19th. But look, that looks good to me. I don't know about you guys. Whether they made that acquisition or not, you know what I mean? This thing probably was going to find a tough time over here. No? Some resistance there. Now you got a little yank. Yeah, they bought the Decembers on the dip. This is a good stock too. It's a good stock. Texas Instruments, they didn't really hit it hard, but they sold some puts though on a little dip. This is something to watch here over the next week or so, especially if it catches any more action. Like these things haven't got hot yet. They've been strong, but they haven't got hot yet. On could be that, but that's a lot of people believe in this one, John, but this thing is really choppy, as you can see here. You know what I mean? Slow mover. This goes into that slow mover category. Yeah. It's almost like you want to buy a little with time and you're hoping to catch, a nice move at some point. WKHS caught some action yesterday. Had some decent action. Let me see what they play yesterday. Today too, a little bit, but yesterday was nice action. Hold on. Let me move this out of the way. October's. Right? Is that what they were buying? Yesterday, the 27th? Yeah. Oh, and they bought August 28th too. But I don't know, may need to breathe a little bit more. This is a big move. Maybe they save it for earnings. You got earnings here too. Maybe we see the flow really get hot as a heads up. Maybe we catch a move before earnings. Where they get really, really aggressive. That's what we could keep an eye out for. Otherwise, you're going to roll the dice into earnings. This company probably doesn't even have earnings, do they? I don't even know if they have earnings. What is it? This is a SPAC. Does this have yeah, I don't. Well, you got a little pullback, but look at this move. I can't fool around with this. Once that happens, What is this? This is a SPAC, isn't it? Or one of those type things? Yeah. I don't know much about these things. You know, there's shell companies. There's story stocks. You don't look at charts on these things. EV truck. This is a truck company too? The EV truck? Ah. Yeah, it's been a hot group. Hot group. Doku. I don't know what you want me to tell you about Doku. I'll tell you, you want me to tell you about Doku? I owned the stock at right here. Let me show you where I owned it. And I sold it right here. Okay? That's my story. That's my story. I bought it right here off initial activity, off a nice little pullback, and I sold it. You can see it right there. You see that pop? Look how little that pop looks. And here's my point. I look like a hero for a couple days after. Oh, I thought I was so good. I thought I was Jesse Livermore. Jesse Liverpool. And then, and you're going. Yep. Anywho, you know, up here, I don't know. You could trade the thing, but position-wise up here now, that's the question I was asking earlier. Can these things go into a little breather here and then another leg higher? I don't know if that's possible. I guess it is. I don't know. I'm being honest with you. I really don't know. TWST, that's a cool little biotech. Well, not little, but red hot stock. There's been some smaller biotechs too that have been catching action that have been hot. Here's your Niner, Pink Panther, and this is, I guess, when you're hot, this is what a breather looks like. Little choppy breather there. And it had news today, I think. Niner is where you look for, it's an exhaustion signal, where they start huffing and puffing. So a lot of times you'll see a pause in the trend. Sometimes you see a reversal in the trend. Or sometimes when they're really strong, you know, they'll still grind their way higher. But you look for a change in character there. I had a Niner here, but it must have been a different animal. Well, almost a similar type setup there, right? Here's your Niner. Oop. And then you see how it slowed it up a little, choppy. It gets tired. That's what. More than not, it gets tired. Tesla, yeah. Tesla caught some nice action too recently, but up here, look, I don't know. You see all the red and Pink Panther? When you see that, don't ask my opinion. No good can come out of it when you ask my opinion over there. When there's red and Pink Panther, you know, poor risk reward. That's what it signals. Neo, let's see. Yeah. Might need a little more time, but definitely, Jim, looks a lot better, right? Than if it would have kept going, it would have been useless. You know, just might need some more time. But they already were buying it today, weren't they? I remember seeing action in it. TQQQ, it's not a matter of whether they're clean or not at this point with the sweeps. It's a matter of it could be tied to earnings. You know what I mean? That's the problem. You know, so you got all these tech earnings and somebody swept some TQQQ late. You know, they're going to cash a ticket off AMD, but if AMD shit the bed, they would have lost money. You know, if you could day trade them, if you get a spot to day trade them, or you want to roll the dice with them. But I wouldn't treat them like when we get excited about them into weakness, that sort of thing, you know? They're just tougher to trust. They're tougher to trust. That's all. That's the difference. Neo, they bought August 17s today, right? Yeah, I think this moves with the rest of them. Don't they all move together now, these electric cars, trucks? Don't they all move together, or they don't? Nikola is a whole different animal, though. Like this is, you see, like you showed me that spec, whatever it's called. Like that's, I mean, come on. The stock, this thing, whatever you want to call it, stock, spec, whatever it is, went from 8 to 100. So what do you want to do? You want to buy it at 75, and where's it going to go to 500? Like where? I mean, come on. I'm sure that's basically what it was, Jim. You know, people got cheap stock. We see them selling stock and replacing it with blocks of calls all day long. All those blocks. Remember all those blocks we were seeing? They're dumping stock and replacing it with calls, less money. But, you know, it wouldn't surprise me this thing bottoms and then you get a move out of it. You know, that wouldn't shock me. That wouldn't shock me. But, you know, here, after a move like that, it's over with. You got to look for new ones. You know, you got to look for new ones. But if you have to buy it, you have a 9er low here, you do have earnings. But you have a 9er low here, maybe you got to bounce. This 9er, they pissed on. But again, this is not a real stock. This is Fugazi. So I don't know what to tell you about this. What else? Throw some symbols. And then we call it a day. Gold, yeah, obviously needs a rest, but this is not your normal run-of-the-mill in gold. It's melt-up. Melt-ups can linger and go a lot further than you think. So, you know, would I buy gold here? No. But would I hold it if you were in it? Yeah, I would hold it. Yeah, I would hold it. Yeah, there's just so much demand. Again, it's an asset that doesn't have ties to COVID. And with all the liquidity out there, money's got to find somewhere to go. You understand? And right now, money's looking at anything that is not impacted by COVID and plowing into it. It's that simple. It's that simple. The gold miners, a perfect example, right? Perfect example. Kodak, nah, I wouldn't forget Kodak. Yeah, Bitcoin is in that category. You know, the biotechs obviously are in that category. What is this PLD? Caught some buying yesterday. What is this PLD? Oh, this is a REIT, I think, right? I don't trade Bitcoin. I really don't know. I don't trade Bitcoin. I think you got to get a mechanical wallet or something to trade Bitcoin. This was a nice trade. 9er to 9er, my friends. That's a nice trade. See, that's the beauty of 9ers. It's not whether they work all the time. Nothing works all the time, okay? The beauty of 9ers is that you look at something like this that's been doing nothing, going sideways, coincidentally, off the last upside niner, straight sideways, okay? You could have bought this here thinking breakout. You could have bought this here thinking breakout. You could have bought this thinking breakout. You could have bought this thinking breakout. You could have bought this hoping it moved. And none of those panned out. But lo and behold, you get a good old niner right there out of nowhere. And then she breaks. Come on now. Come on. You know what I mean? So it's something I think that when, like, especially like for me, right? Like I'm solely basing everything I do off sweeper activity and sentiment, right? So if it lines up and there's a niner signal confirming it, just makes it that much stronger of a signal, you know? Like if something I think I have time on and I don't want to buy it, right? I think, oh, I may hang around here for a while and I happen to see a niner there, you know, I might be more inclined to buy it right there and then, thinking that there'll be some support or the trend can change. That's what niners are. You know, and we'll talk about that. I'm going to do, for members, I'm going to either do a recording video or maybe both. Talk about niners and intraday to how to use them, how to look at them. And we'll go over that stuff. CP, they look good. Could use a little breather. They all look good. I like that UNP. NSC is another good looking one. You know, you got a couple more with earnings. I think this one has earnings. Yeah, this one's still, you have a couple with earnings. CSX came out already, I think. Yes, CSX came out. So this could be, Robert, this could be one of those spots where we see flow come into, you know, post earnings. Definitely a candidate. There's been the only one that caught flow was UNP, and that was pre-earnings. So now I'm looking to see if they buy it post-earnings, right? That would confirm it for me. So I got my eyes open, eyes and ears open. All right, everybody. As always, I appreciate you guys stopping by. If anybody's new, all right, or even new member, you have any questions, go here, wallstreetjesus.com. You go to the strategy section, and you got some short blogs, little write-ups. Get you familiar with the terminology and stuff like that. All right. And good luck the rest of the week. I'll speak to most of you tomorrow. All right. But if not, good luck. Make some money. Stay patient. You know, and take what the market's giving you right now. That's all. Have a good night, everybody. Talk to you soon.